Hello there, everyone. It's been a while since I've had a chance to say hi to you since we did the Ruth Bible study, dating back to really July, even August, I think was when we stopped running that. My name is Pastor Mark Olson. I serve Faith Lutheran Church in Bagley, Minnesota. And I'm bringing you this message to invite you to a fall, winter, and fall and winter study on freedom. Freedom is a huge topic right now in our country. We are moving up towards an election in November, and many of the issues that we are facing have to do with our relationship with freedom. In our study, we're going to talk about that sense of freedom, but also what is how is Christian freedom different or unique, perhaps, to general what it means to be an American. In this country, in terms of freedom, we enjoy our First Amendment rights, the free exercise of religion, the right to gather and freely exercise our beliefs. We have the freedom of speech. We also enjoy in the First Amendment the freedom of the press and also the freedom to peaceably assemble. Those topics are huge right now. You think of peacefully assembling and the awful aftermath of the George Floyd tragedy, and I would even say tragic murder. And what does it mean to peacefully assemble in the aftermath of that in a time of racial unrest? Religion has been a huge issue in terms of freedoms during this pandemic. And should we gather and express the freedom to assemble for in-person worship? Or should we socially distance? And to what degree do our state or local or federal authorities have discretion over that when it is, after all, First Amendment rights? What is our freedom from? What's our freedom for? The freedom of press seems to be particularly under attack right now. We've all heard the terminology of fake news. And there's obligations when we use our freedoms as an opportunity to tell the truth. And how do we understand that in terms of a free society? The basis and the background of the study for freedom is really a document that was written 500 years ago in a conversation between the Catholic Church. Really, it was an internal conversation between Martin Luther and the Roman curate, Pope Leo X in Rome. In 1517, Martin Luther had posted his 95 Theses, his statements of 95 points of protest against the Catholic Church, particularly under the sale of indulgences. Well, at that same time, Johannes Gutenberg was printing out movable type. In fact, Biography magazine at the turn of the century, at the year 2000, said, who are the two most influential people, historic figures over the past 500 years? Martin Luther was second. Johannes Gutenberg was first, because suddenly the freedom of the press, if you will, to mass distribute the 95 Theses, for example, got Luther in trouble. Those 95 points of disputation made their way all the way to Rome, all the way to Pope Leo X and the cardinals and those that were gathered around Pope Leo. Remarkably, Luther and Leo, it seemed to have, at least in their correspondence, a fairly decent relationship, at least at first. The Catholic Church took exception, of course, to Luther's attack on the sale of indulgences. And so they went through the process of working towards resolution, not just excommunication. There's some things that Luther had to do before he would be excommunicated. Pope Leo X sent a series of individuals in 1518, 1519 to meet with Luther. Cardinal Cajetan, Johannes Eck were a couple of those individuals. And finally, he sent a guy by the name of Karl von Miltitz. And it was agreed between Luther and von Miltitz that Luther would write a letter of apology to Pope Leo X. And so Luther writes a letter of apology, but then appends to that letter a document that has really shaped the world in our understanding of freedom. It's the freedom of a Christian, written 500 years ago. And so a study has been commissioned by my denomination, the ELCA, and that study is available at elca500.org. You can email me at olsonmark1966@gmail.com, or you can call the church office and we'll get you a copy, 218-694-2631. We're going to be studying this amazing document really over the next 10 weeks or so. Our next meeting is at Faith Lutheran on October 15th at 6:30 p.m. If you wish to come, we're going to be wearing masks and socially distancing. Or if you wish to join more safely via Zoom, you can do that as well. Again, just send me an email ahead of time so I can send you back the link to this format, the Zoom study. Again, the study and the document, Freedom of a Christian, copies of that are both available at elca500.org and olsonmark1966@gmail.com. olsonmark1966@gmail.com is another way that I can send out those documents, or the link to them right out to you. Again, if you need a hard copy, we'll find a way to get you one. The church office at Faith Lutheran, 694-2631. So Luther writes this letter of apology to Pope Leo, and he appends this document, a love letter, really. The Freedom of a Christian is written much differently than the 95 Theses or the Heidelberg Disputations or some of those documents that were getting Luther in hot water. It's, as one Luther scholar says, it's, quote, a remarkably template, unquote, approach. Without the attack or vitriol, Lutheran, Catholic, it's really a document that Lutherans and Catholics, evangelicals, Christians together, even those who are not Christian and wish to understand a little bit about the Christian faith, can, I think, glean a lot out of. I want to leave you with just a couple of things that are highlighted in the Freedom of a Christian. This is right from the beginning. There's the letter to Leo, but then the Freedom of a Christian, right from the introduction. Right away, Luther says, faith is learned through tribulations. It is faith in Jesus Christ is certainly not, and never has been, or ever will be, a way to evade suffering, particularly the freedom for suffering on behalf of or caring for others. Our own personal suffering and our suffering on behalf of the world. Mark Olson, a younger Mark Olson, if you would have asked him what was the meaning to life, I might have said to be happy. And we are happier when we avoid suffering, when we avoid tribulation. And so young Mark Olson would have said, what do I need to do to reduce stress in my life, to eliminate challenge, to eliminate confrontation and difficulty? And I think a more mature Mark Olson, or you might even say that it is in facing adversity, facing tribulation, that we find more of our fuller self in the world. And if we're free in Christ to face tribulation, there's a certain risk that we can take as Christians. The second and two the main themes is, to quote Luther, the Christian individual is a completely free, Lord of all, subject to none. We have been freed up in Christ through the cross, through the suffering, death, and resurrection of Jesus. We are made free from shame, free from guilt, free from sorrow. So, Christian is a perfectly free, Lord of all, subject to none. But equally and directly as important is the second premise. The Christian individual is a completely dutiful servant of all, subject to all. So we are slaves, we are servants to all, we're subject to all, and we're free, subject to none, both at the same time. The Christian life is lived in that paradox. Again, I would love to have you join us in the study of the freedom of a Christian. That study, again, we'll start with session 1 on October 15th from 6:30 to 8 o'clock p.m. It'll be broadcast at that time through a Zoom link, such as what I'm using to record this for you today. So you can, probably the easiest way is for you to join at home through Zoom. It's certainly the safest. But if you don't have this technology and you're getting this invitation via Garden Valley or something, and the only way other than that to participate is to come and join us, please know our fellowship hall will be set up with tables where you can socially distance. You get a table to yourself where you can take notes and participate in a small group conversation. Christian is a perfectly free Lord of all, subject to none. Christian is a perfectly dutiful servant of all, subject to all. What does it mean to be free? What does it mean to be free in America? And what in the world does it mean to be free as Christians? Hope you can join us. Again, the way to connect to the study and to get a copy of the study is you can download it at home at elca500.org. Just pump that into your Google browser. I can email you both the study and the source material, The Freedom of a Christian, special 500th anniversary translation of that done by Reverend Dr. Timothy Wengert. Just email me at olsonmark1966@gmail.com or call us at the church office at Faith Lutheran, 218-694-2631. Thank you, and I hope you can join our conversation.